everyone, just popping in to add another entry to my top 50 most underrated, underappreciated, and or unknown guitar solos of all time. And also, welcome to my new studio. Cool, huh? My oldest daughter has pretty much moved out, and I've taken over her room. I don't know how much of you can see here, but there's guitars everywhere. And after 3 years, I finally get rid of that awful painting that's been behind me. Though I must get something guitar related up there. It is a bit barren and drab right now. Anyway, now upon reflection, this one should be much higher. I knew that some Zappa needed to be included here, and I dropped it in at number 47, but once I dug into it, I quickly realized that 47 was far too low for arguably Zappa's finest and most well-known guitar solo. But it was learned, practiced, and ready to go, and I was anxious to perform it, so here we are. Just know that in hindsight, I should have put this one much higher, maybe even in the top 20. Regardless, at number 47, we have Frank Zappa with his classic Watermelon in Easter Hay. Also known by its full title, playing a guitar solo with this band is like trying to grow a watermelon in Easter hay. Catchy. I think what Zappa was referencing here was that his band at the time was so incredibly talented that they tended to overplay most of the time and didn't know how to just shut up for a second or two and let him have his own moment to shine. At least that's what I gather from that statement, but you Zappa fans out there can correct me if I'm wrong about that. The instrumental Watermelon in Easter Hay stems from Frank Zappa's 1979 triple concept album Joe's Garage and is the second to last track on the album. At this point in our story from Joe's Garage, our hero Joe, depressed and despondent after being repeatedly raped in prison and faced with the banning of all music, copes after his release from prison by imagining guitar solos in his head for the entire third act of the album. He knows that the end is near, and this song and guitar solo, which he creates in his head, acts as the character's final goodbye to music. Interestingly enough, it is the only solo from the six-sided album, which is full of guitar solos, that was recorded during the recording sessions for Joe's Garage. Every other solo on the album was pulled from earlier live recordings and overdubbed into completely different songs than the ones that they were initially played in. A technique that Zappa actually invented called xenocronous recording, sometimes even going so far as to change the speed and the pitch of the solo before dropping it into its new home. Really interesting and creative stuff. But like I said, Watermelon in Easter Hay was the only song on Joe's Garage that this technique was not used. This one got the special treatment from Frank. And in the end, the track Watermelon in Easter Hay would go on to become one of Frank Zappa's favorites from the album, and it is widely considered one of his masterpieces, if not his masterpiece. Also, interestingly enough, considering how bizarre, twisted, and avant-garde the vast majority of Zappa's output was throughout his career, to have such a straightforward and accessible track be not only one of his own personal favorites, but to be one of the songs that he'll probably be most remembered by. It's kind of an odd twist, really. I suppose because it's such a beautiful piece of music. Zappa, of course, was capable of a hell of a lot of things musically, but beauty is not a word that one often associates with Zappa's music. Now, I'm no Zappa aficionado, but I've heard plenty of his music over the years, and I may be wrong about that assessment, but personally, I can't think of many Zappa pieces that one might call beautiful. You know, lots of other adjectives, but not beautiful. I'm guessing that maybe the reason that he was proud of this one so much was because maybe he didn't know that he was capable of creating something so utterly beautiful. maybe, just my opinion. Frank was actually asked at one point late in his life whether or not he felt he had written or recorded anything throughout his career that stands out as unique or particularly special to him. Of the hundreds, if not thousands, of pieces of music that Zappa created throughout his lifetime, he mentioned the names of just three guitar instrumentals: Black Napkins, Zoeteleurs, and of course, Watermelon in Easter Hay. He considered these his signature pieces and the ones that he was most proud of. Supposedly, the song meant so much to Zappa that he tightly guarded the rights to Watermelon in Easter Hay, both before and after his death, and would only allow one person to perform it on stage other than himself. And that would be his son, Dweezil. Yet Dweezil himself stayed away from it for the longest time. In 2006, Dweezil formed the touring group Zappa Plays Zappa and covered any number of Zappa pieces over the course of 7 or 8 years touring with this show, except for Watermelon in Easter Hay. Like I said, it's one of Frank's most famous pieces, and surely one that Zappa's fans and Dweezil's audiences were chomping at the bit to hear him perform, but he simply couldn't do it for the longest time. He had this to say about it in a 2008 magazine article. "I want to play Watermelon in Easter Hay live, but that song has always been a tragedy to me. Emotionally, it is so devastating that I kind of can't focus on it. When I start playing it, it's too overwhelming. But eventually, I suppose that I will overcome that. However, that's one where if I do play it, I will learn the whole thing in its entirety, note for note, because it is so perfect. You can't possibly make it any better." It took until October of 2013 before Dweezil finally played Easter Hay live, an extremely emotional performance that he uploaded to his YouTube channel. If you would like to go and check that out after you watch this video, it is fantastic, of course. Now, it goes without saying that Watermelon in Easter Hay isn't as close to my heart as it is to Dweezil's, and doesn't quite have the same emotional impact on me as it does on him, for obvious reasons. So unlike Dweezil, I did not figure it out note for note, at least the main solo section. The first half of the main solo is pretty close, I think, but then I kind of wander off and do some improvisation here and there. I personally think that the heart of this solo is improvisation, and I thought that I would do something that I rarely do in my covers and in my videos. Just that, improvise. The tone on the original recording of this one is just exquisite and was an absolute bitch to dial in. But I think that I got it somewhat close. I'm happy with it. I think it sounds pretty good, at least in keeping with the what I think is the spirit of the solo, whereas it not being a note-for-note copy. It sure is a hell of a lot of fun to play and solo over in its odd 9/4 timing signature and equally odd key of C sharp. One doesn't solo a heck of a lot in C sharp. It's very odd boxes that you get to solo in. Anyway, just some brilliant and gorgeous stuff from Frank on this one, and an absolute joy to play. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that one. Hope you're well out there in your little guitar corner of the world, and we will see you next time with number 46. And you guys take care of yourselves. Hope you're wearing your masks and staying safe, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.
Your VPN has never been more crucial to the success of your business.